What if Naruto had the Rinne Sharingan? This concept rides on the coattails of another series in which Naruto was the Ten Tails during the early days of the Hidden Leaf Village, and fought alongside Hashirama Senju and Tobirama during the Second Great Shinobi War. I thought it might be a good idea to launch a new series that sort of does the same thing, but what do you think? Want to see a world where Naruto is the Ten Tails, but in a more modern setting? Wicked. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Amagi. Before we begin, only 25% of our viewers are subscribed, so if you're a fan of the video, please like and double check if you are subscribed, and with that out of the way, let's get into the video. As the cold night wind blew over Konoha, the skies were clear and a solemn happiness fell over the town. A mood appeared. It was as if some wonderful event were transpiring, and I suppose you could say it was. It wasn't something uncommon, nor was it anything unnatural. It was the most natural, most common yet miraculous thing to ever happen, and despite how often it occurred, no one person in the world had ever experienced it. It was still so full of wonder and mystery. The mystery of life, of birth, the sacred event ordained by the powers on high that new life should be born of love between two people. Born of love, for love, to be loved. Such a beautiful thing that life should begin in the arms of parents. But even more beautiful it is that life begin at all. Currently, in a hospital somewhere in Konoha, the fourth Hokage and his wife await the imminent arrival of their first. The baby emerges, is freed from its tether to its mother, and presented to both parents, a happy little package. A crying little package. Despite the three crying the same, the reasons are different. It was at that moment that Biwako remembered why she chose to be a medical nin in the first place. Why she chose to study the long and arduous road of medicine. It was as if she had been born for moments like these. To be the first hands to welcome something so fragile and fresh into the world, and to see a new family off and on their way into the new world. The baby was blonde like its father, but his face was his mother's, truly. Thinking back, they wondered what they might call him. As his little eyes opened for the first time, blurry and tear-stained, the name quickly came to them. Naruto. A name passed down from Hokage to Hokage as the hero who gave his life to save the second Hokage from the Kinkaku Force. The eyes that they witnessed, though, were not the eyes they expected to see. They witnessed unusual, powerful eyes. Red eyes with rings spinning out from the center to the furthest edge, each visible ring containing 3 tomoe each. All in all, each eye displayed 9 fully visible tomoe, though there could have been more beyond that could not be seen. Minato could not help but wonder at these eyes, at how much they appeared to be like the Sharingan. It was these eyes that caused the name Naruto to be chosen. The only one in history to have a dojutsu of this description was he, and it felt only fitting that such a name be passed down to the infant who bore his eyes. Naruto. Minato lifted the babe up into his arms to welcome it to the world. Naruto, he cooed to the baby. It almost seemed to smile at him, which was enough to cause Minato to realize that this may have been the happiest moment of his life. One of them, at the very least. It was not long before Hiruzen arrived. The elderly man was getting up there in years, and he had preferred to remain at home as to offer proper privacy to his successor. Hiruzen himself had been where Minato was now. In fact, he'd been there twice. And now he was there to see it again. After the birth, he came to bid them his well wishes. It was then that he heard and understood. The baby's name was Naruto, and his eyes, the Rinne Sharingan. Pulling the child up into his arms, his eyes ran over with emotion as memories of the past came flooding back. Hiruzen was one of the few people left alive who could remember Naruto, hero of the Leaf, Ten Tails incarnate. He had wept with Naruto when his adopted father Hashirama had passed, and he had wept with his master Tobirama when Naruto's deceased body was found by the riverside. A Ten Tails granted autonomy and sentience by the sage, given chance to experience life as a human being. Naruto had learned what it meant to be alive and what it meant to die for another. And true to his word, his chakra had coalesced once more and bonded itself to a body given form by Minato and Kushina. Holding the baby in his arms, the pain of loss and his best friend burned within. "Naruto," he said as he gently embraced the child. "I missed you so much." Time is like a river. It flows at all times. At some points, it seems to slow or even deviate and diverge, but it never stops. Even if you put up a dam, it will find a way around and continue to flow, or it will wash over. As sweet as the beginning of life is, it does not remain a steady moment, nor should it. The beginning is a promise to grow and learn, to become strong. And such is true for even Naruto. The baby began to grow up, from infant to toddler, toddler to child. The path of time seemed linear, and though Minato and Kushina were growing older as well, their hearts could only find joy in the fact that their son was growing healthier and more curious. Every day he asked them something new, and every day he had a new fact to tell them. Every day he trained with his father, his ability to mold and manipulate chakra as well as learn from watching was incredible for his age, but what was one to expect? If the stories he had been told by Hiruzen were true, Naruto was the progenitor of chakra on Earth entirely. He was the reason why any of them could use jutsu, so it only seemed natural that he be able to as well, at a far greater level than any other shinobi. It seemed only natural that Naruto should be introduced to the academy to learn, and so that's exactly what happened. Naruto entered the academy. As son of the Hokage and bearer of a unique dojutsu, he easily became the most popular kid around, and not just because of that, but because he had what seemed like an infinite amount of chakra and jutsu, crafting new techniques on the fly. Imagine for a moment the most chad and perfect of all students in the school that you wanted to be, and then multiply those expectations by a million. That's basically what Naruto was. So to say he was without friends would be a lie. He had lots of them. Not everyone liked him, some were too jealous, but for the most part he was well received. But one particular friend got along with him very well, and that was Sasuke Uchiha, son of Fugaku. They bonded well over their unique dojutsu. Sasuke's Sharingan were so very similar to Naruto's Rinne Sharingan that even those who did not know that one descended from the other knew that they were at least very distantly connected. Naruto and Sasuke would hang out together, play, and train. Despite Naruto's knowledge of ninjutsu and the ability to copy them with his Rinne Sharingan, Sasuke was a close rival. His Sharingan, though incapable of some of the techniques that Naruto could perform, was still capable of keeping up with Naruto. Sasuke's Shuriken Jutsu and Taijutsu were far superior to Naruto's as well. Though Naruto could easily learn other jutsu and had the chakra to make good use of it, he didn't know how to move his body all that well. So they did indeed have quite the rivalry going between them. It only seemed natural that the two should end up on the same team together after graduation. That was the birth of Team 7. Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura under Kakashi Hatake, their mentor. Oftentimes their missions involved them cleaning the village and the like, but every so often Naruto would get a break where he could enjoy a popsicle on a bench. That was what he was doing now. That's when Hiruzen appeared and sat beside him. "Hello, Naruto." "Hello, Oji-chan." Hiruzen would smile at that. Looking down at his wrinkled hands, Hiruzen realized that he had become quite old since the last time he saw Naruto. The last time the two of them met, he was about the same as Naruto was now. But now that he had gotten old, time had passed them by, and he understood what Naruto had told him all those years ago. How time passes Naruto by, how everyone but Naruto ages, and how everyone can die but Naruto, who merely transforms. Being the embodiment of nature itself, he would always live as such. Even if he were killed, he would simply reform and appear at a later time. There was no afterlife for Naruto, only the present. It was tragic, but Hiruzen just had to know. "Naruto, do you remember me?" Naruto took another lick of his popsicle and turned his head just enough to look at Hiruzen out of the corner of his eyes. "Like how?" Naruto asked. "Do you remember when we were both young, when we used to play together, and how we both fought in the First Shinobi World War?" He provided a picture from his wallet, an old black and white image, nothing fancy, but still the best they had at the time. Naruto looked at the image of Tobirama Senju posing above 3 boys, Hiruzen, Danzo, and Naruto himself. Naruto looked closely at the picture. "It seems familiar, but I don't remember it exactly." Hiruzen seemed disappointed by this, but eventually his frown dissipated and turned into a face of cheerful resignation. "Maybe it's best that you don't." Naruto continued to look at the picture. "What was I like?" Hiruzen smiled and leaned back against the bench as he thought. "You were sweet. When we first met at the academy, you were the shyest individual I'd ever seen. It took me showing you a special trick for you to open up to me and Danzo. But when you did, you were like family. But even as the son of the Hokage, you lived a hard life. We all did. It was the era of the First Shinobi World War. I remember when you got the news that your father wasn't coming home. You accidentally caused an international crisis called the Wailing." Naruto's face lit up. "That was me?" Hiruzen nodded. "You were so upset that you cast a genjutsu on the moon that spread your sorrow across the world. That day, all fighting stopped as all shinobi openly cried. It was so sad, so pitiful. You nearly leveled Konoha that day, and you would have too if it hadn't been for Tobirama, your uncle." Naruto looked at the image. He thought he saw an image of darkness with a hollow orange light, followed by a face. Hiruzen smiled. "You lived with love and an open heart, but you were also very emotional and easy to lose control. In the end, your heart was your greatest strength and your greatest weakness. And out of love for your uncle, for Danzo, and myself, the whole team, you sacrificed your life to protect us, and even managed to decimate one of the Hidden Cloud's most elite units. You weren't in very good condition when you were found. As much as I want you to remember me, it's probably best that you don't remember anything." When Naruto was done looking at the picture, he handed it back to Hiruzen, who lovingly tucked it back away. Hiruzen stood. "You were a magnificent shinobi during that day and age, Naruto. I wish to see if that's what you'll become now." He began to walk away, leaving Naruto alone with his half-melted popsicle. After this, Naruto would be called to the Hokage's office by his father. The entire team would be there. There, Minato would inform them of their newest mission, a mission to the Land of Waves. Accepting the mission, the group would meet at the gate where an elderly man would be waiting for them. Together, they began their trek toward the small village where the Bridge Master was heading. On their way, they were ambushed by both the Demon Brothers and Zabuza, but unlike before, Naruto did not freeze. His Rinne Sharingan sees them coming, and it's as if time slowed down for him. With his wood release, he intercepts the Demon Brothers before they can hurt anyone and leaves them chained up. And as for Zabuza, well, with their overwhelming power, Naruto and Sasuke manage to push Zabuza back long enough to save Kakashi, which causes Zabuza to flee. But this is but a prelude for what is coming to them. Stopping to rest, the group stays at the home of Tazuna, where they meet Tsunami and Inari. But out of everyone there, Naruto takes an interest in Inari. Coming from such a happy village, Naruto had never seen such a sad child. Deep within him, a spark burned. It burned to understand who Inari was and what left him so upset. One night, as they were winding down, Naruto finds Inari sitting outside, looking over the water toward the moon. Naruto sits down next to him. "Hi," he says simply. Inari turns to face away from Naruto. Naruto sat there for a moment, feeling a little dejection via rejection. "Why are you sad, and why won't you talk to me?" "Because it's none of your stinking business," Inari would say. Naruto looked over at him, trying to peek around his shoulder, to which Inari would just turn further. Naruto would try to peek around the other shoulder. This back and forth continued for a while until Inari struck the ground with his fist. "Enough! Can't you tell I don't want anything to do with you?" Naruto pulled back a bit. "Your hand." Inari looked down to see that it was bleeding from where he had smashed it against the ground. Inari, ever the child he was, froze up at the sight of it, tears of panic forming in his eyes as his trembling voice sought help but could not say it. Naruto stood and came around to the other side. Sitting down, he would hold out his hand. "Can I see it?" Inari's shaking hand was presented to Naruto. He looked up at Inari, who seemed to still be in panic mode. Naruto let off a solemn smile of empathy for the child and took his hand in his own, covering it with his second. There was a bit of a green glow that shined forth from between his fingers. After it was finished, he let the hand go. Inari took his hand back and looked at it curiously. "My hand, it's healed?" He looked back at Naruto. "Why? I was so mean to you. Why would you heal me?" "Because you needed it," Naruto said. Inari shook his head. "I don't get it. I don't get you heroes. Why do you do this? Why do you stand up for people when you could die?" "Because," Naruto said as he thought about it, "people deserve it." "People deserve it?" Inari questioned, unable to understand the meaning. Naruto nodded. "People deserve it. People deserve to be happy and to be loved. And no one's gonna tell me I can't. Even if they hurt me, even if they kill me, I'll protect them and show them that the world doesn't have to be so scary." "But it is scary," Inari said. "It's scary. Bad people live here and good people, they just die." Naruto's comforting smile faded. "It sounds like you know from experience." Inari's tears were returning. Naruto sat back and looked up at the moon. "You know, I'm not like other people. I'm a force of nature bound to human flesh. Do you know what the Ten Tails is?" Inari shook his head. Naruto began to recount it. "Many, many years ago, there was a divine tree that threatened the world, but the Sage of Six Paths in his kindness and wisdom knew that the Ten Tails knew no better. So he undertook the act of raising and teaching it, to show what it means to live, love, and to be loved. And the Ten Tails grew to admire him, to love him. That Ten Tails eventually lived in a village called Konoha. There it met a man named Hashirama Senju, the first Hokage. For the first time in nearly 1,000 years, the Ten Tails knew what it meant to be loved and cared for by someone. He saw that man as a father, but happy times don't last, Inari. Sometimes bad things do happen. Sometimes bad people come to hurt. And when they do, we gotta fight back to protect what we love. Eventually, the Ten Tails would give its life to save its friends. After its death, time passed, and eventually it would be reborn into a new body that its parents named Naruto. That's me." Inari listened, his eyes full of wonder. "Why did you do it? How did you do it?" Naruto shook his head. "I'm still a little fuzzy on my history. A lot fuzzy, but people who were there told me about it, and I did it because I loved them." Inari looked down. "If he loved me, then why didn't he choose me? Why did he have to die?" Naruto pulled him into a hug. "When someone gives their life for someone else, it's a beautiful thing. I don't know who this person is that you're talking about, but it's likely that he sought to protect what he loved. I believe he loved you, but sometimes when you love many things, you have to make a hard choice. You see, I loved my mom, but I still died for my uncle and my teammates because they needed it more. Think about this, Inari. What if your grandfather and your mother were in danger, and the only way you could save them was to sacrifice your life? Would you? Inari nodded. And whoever this person you were talking about earlier, if they were alive and not in danger, would you still die to protect your mom and grandpa, even if you knew that it meant that you couldn't be around any longer for the one that you'd leave behind? Inari thought about it. He slowly nodded sadly, as if he didn't want to accept the answer. Inari, when we do good things, we do them to protect what we love. Sometimes, if we love them, we have to let them go. But that doesn't mean that our love goes away. I don't know who this man was, but he was my father. Kaiza. Naruto sat there, realizing the situation. He almost broke into tears himself, but maintained his composure. Your father. He died doing good, but that doesn't separate you from his love. No matter where you are in this world, he'll always love you. Inari continued to cry into his shoulder, and Naruto continued to hold him. All the while, Tazuna watched this from the window. He turned around to Kakashi. Who is that boy? He broke through layers in Inari that we haven't been able to break through in years. Kakashi looked up to him. That boy is Naruto. The reason he can do this is because he understands their hearts. I think people subconsciously recognize that. He's just very approachable. The day after, Naruto and the rest of Team 7 escort Tazuna to the bridge, where they stand to protect the workers. Naruto sits there on the bridge. The sun shines in on them through the mist, and Naruto can't help but smile. He sits there on the bridge, taking in the abundance of nature energy. He feels peaceful, but as he sits there, he senses something in the air. He suddenly stands up and begins looking around. Sakura notices this. Naruto? Naruto continues to investigate the feeling, determining where it's coming from. Naruto points to the edge of the bridge. Sasuke stands and walks to Naruto. Together they witness Zabuza coming through the fog, Haku at his side. Kakashi stands up and walks over to them. Stay here and protect the workers. I'll deal with them. Kakashi begins to walk over to the group. It's obvious that the three are talking. Things slowly grow more and more heated until eventually Haku attempts to walk past Kakashi. Kakashi attempts to attack Haku, but Zabuza catches his kunai with his executioner's blade. Haku moves past them as Kakashi and Zabuza begin to battle. Haku appears before them. Please stand aside. I would prefer that this not get messy, please. Naruto stands there. I won't let you hurt the workers. Haku looks behind them. I have to. I promise not to hurt you though, and I'd prefer not to. Please stand aside and I promise not to harm you. Naruto shook his head. No, I can't. It's my obligation to protect them. You don't have to do this. If you stand down, I promise we'll let you go. Haku stands there for a moment. I appreciate your kind offer. I wish it did not need to come to this. In another place and time, I feel as though we could have been friends, but the chains of fate seem to have bound us to this. I apologize. Suddenly, Haku casts a jutsu, the demonic mirroring ice crystals technique. Naruto and Sasuke stand back to back, not sure what to expect. Sasuke's Sharingan activate, as do Naruto's Rinne Sharingan. As Haku merges with the mirrors, his appearance is reflected across them all. The Senbon start coming in, and they dodge as many as they can. But they're coming in at so many angles at such a rate of speed that they barely have time to notice them, let alone dodge them. That begins to eat away at their stamina. Naruto knows he has to do something about this. Suddenly, he feels as if nature heeds his call and a dome forms of Truthseeker orbs around them. The Senbon strike against the shell and bounce off. Naruto and Sasuke can hear it. As they kneel there within the shell, Naruto forms a light with his fire release. He begins to pull Senbon from his wounds. He then looks to Sasuke, who begins doing the same. Are you okay, Sasuke? He asks. Sasuke nods. Yeah, just need to get these out. He keeps pulling them out. Suddenly, a large splash of blood hits the concrete below their feet. Wow, that was a lot of blood from one Senbon. Didn't hit an artery, did it? A moment passes. Sasuke? He looks up to see Sasuke straining in his face, blood pouring from his mouth. Naruto shatters the ice and pulls Sasuke to him. Naruto looks at the wound. It seemed to pass through him. Sasuke coughs up blood. He gurgles a bit. Naruto cries out for him. Sasuke looks at Naruto. Save me. His eyes roll up into his head. Naruto panics. He presses his hands to the wounds, attempting to heal them, and the wounds do close up, but Sasuke's eyes do not open. Naruto shakes him a bit. Sasuke! Tears stream down his cheeks as he holds him. Sasuke! Suddenly, another ice spire shoots up from below them, just barely missing them. Naruto sees it and his Rinne Sharingan glow with rage. Haku was still outside, attempting to break the barrier. It seemed nothing he could do could shatter it. He couldn't break through it, so he decided to go under it. There was enough water below the bridge to do whatever he pleased with. He attempted a third time at sticking them. However, before he could, he stopped. There was a sudden heaviness in the air. A pressure. What is this? He asked. Even Kakashi and Zabuza had felt it. As Haku stood there, he suddenly felt something hit his mask. He raised his hand and wiped at whatever it was, finding that it was moisture, water. Rain? Haku looked up to see that the mist that had once been enveloping the bridge had risen and gathered together above in the skies, where it congregated as newly formed dark clouds that swirled above like a miniature hurricane. Suddenly, lightning struck the water about 30 yards from the end of the bridge. "What's going on?" Sakura cried out. Suddenly, there was a muffled roar. Kakashi's eyes widened. "Oh no. Oh, please no." Suddenly, the dome of Truthseeker orbs began to crack. Haku stood there, looking at the light pouring out from within. As the orb shattered, the form of the Ten Tails rose from the bridge, its weight causing the bridge to collapse from under it. All those on the bridge fell into the water below. Haku swam to the top. He was startled by this. The only thing in his mind was to get away, so he began swimming to the shore opposite as fast he could. But as he did, a hand reached down and grabbed him. It lifted him up. Haku screamed in terror as his eyes met with a single red pinwheeled orb. It roared so loud that it caused his eardrums to rupture. He gripped his ears and screamed in terror as the beast devoured him. Looking down, it noticed Zabuza. It utilized the human path to send a chakra dragon from its mouth that passed through Zabuza, consuming his very soul. Kakashi watched as it attempted to climb up out of the river and into the city. "He's going to attack the city!" Kakashi shouted. He looked over to find Sakura in shock. Kakashi saw this and knew that something had to be done. He strained the limits of his Kamui and attempted to teleport the entire Ten Tails. His Sharingan began to bleed quite a bit. He managed to pull himself and Sakura to shore where she gripped Sasuke still. Kakashi knelt there for a moment, trying to catch his breath. Sakura looked up. "Where's Naruto?" Kakashi looked at her and pointed to his Sharingan. "Kamui." Kakashi would fall over and pass out. The Ten Tails in all of its massive glory stood tall upon the strange cube-like separations that made up the Kamui Dimension's floor. There was no chakra here, no energy, nothing natural. The only life in this void was the Ten Tails itself, but this did not stop it from wandering about. The dimensions seemed to go on forever. It even began firing tailed beast bombs into the air, hoping that it might collide with something in the sky, some wall or ceiling that proved that this was an enclosed space, but no, it was met with nothing. It seemed that this void was well and truly infinite. Here, Naruto was alone with his thoughts. All he could see was Sasuke, dead in his arms. He remembered all the time they spent together, all the fun times, the hard times, good times and bad. It felt like Naruto's heart was rent open. He wanted to die. Back in reality though, Naruto did not yet know that Sasuke lived. For a moment, Sasuke's heart had stopped, but Naruto's healing of his wound had managed to save his life just in time to prevent death. Sasuke was already up and moving around by the end of the day. Sadly though, the bridge was destroyed. All the hard work done to free the Land of Waves from the grip of Gato and his men was for nothing. However, when Kakashi was finally able to regain consciousness, he would inform them that they would return to Konoha, where they would inform Minato, who would send a full detachment of shinobi and even more bridge workers to ensure that the bridge is repaired and they can finally be free from the one who wanted them under his thumb. And so they began their trek home. As soon as they passed through the gates, they went straight for the Hokage's office. There, Kakashi found both Minato and Hiruzen having a friendly conversation. Their good mood filled the air until Kakashi entered the room and simply said, "We have a problem." He first informed Minato of the easy thing, that the Land of Waves would require more shinobi and bridge workers to help repair. That Minato happily provided. The second thing was a bit tougher. Kakashi informed them that Naruto had been affected by what he believed to be the death of Sasuke, though Naruto's quick actions had saved him, and told them that Naruto lost control and turned into the Ten Tails. Hiruzen's eyes widened. He asked what Kakashi had done to nullify the threat. Kakashi told him that he had used Kamui to teleport Naruto to a different dimension entirely to protect him and everyone else, but that he didn't think he could bring him back out due to the size of the beast. Minato admitted that it was probably for the best as they didn't want him crushing Konoha underfoot, but he did say that they would need to venture in and find Naruto. To that end, Minato, Hiruzen, and Sasuke would go into the Kamui realm where they would see Naruto stomping about in the distance. "What are we supposed to do with this?" Sasuke said. "We can't fight that." Hiruzen shook his head. "We're not going to fight it. We're just going to reason with it. That's how Tobirama sensei did it in the past. We just need to get inside." "Should be no problem," Minato said. He utilized the flying Raijin jutsu to teleport them all onto his back. Minato then formed a Rasengan in his hand and began to drill into his back. Eventually, he carved a hole just big enough for them to get inside. When they were inside, he let Hiruzen show him the way. Hiruzen led him through the beast. There was a grotesque creaking of wood along with what sounded like a heartbeat. They explored the beast until they reached the core, a glowing amber crystal filled with what appeared to be tree sap, and floating in the middle, curled up in a ball, was Naruto. Sasuke beat on the crystal. "Naruto! Naruto!" Minato would form a Rasengan and smash it into the amber, shattering the crystal's surface and allowing for Naruto to be pulled out. Naruto sat there, tears in his eyes. I failed him. I failed. I let him die. No, you didn't. Naruto. Naruto. Naruto, despite speaking, did not appear to be conscious. Sasuke pulled open one of Naruto's eyelids and cast a genjutsu with his Sharingan. Suddenly, Sasuke was transported to a field of flowers where Naruto sat in a circle of brown, lifeless grass. I failed him, Naruto said. Sasuke drew closer. Naruto? Naruto looked away. Sasuke came and stood before him before kneeling. Naruto. Naruto looked up. Have you come to haunt me, Sasuke? Sasuke shook his head. No, Naruto. I'm not dead. Naruto shook his head. Impossible. I saw you die. You're either a spirit or a dream. Sasuke looked down. Naruto, look. He lifted his shirt to show the scar left behind by the ice spear. I'm not a dream, Naruto, nor am I a spirit. I'm alive. How? You saved my life, Naruto, Sasuke said. You healed me just before I died. My heart stopped for a moment, but when you turned into the Ten Tails, your chakra was infused into me. It restarted my heart. I'm okay. Naruto hugged him. I'm sorry, Sasuke. Sasuke scoffed. Why should you be? You didn't hurt me. You saved my life. Did I hurt anyone? Naruto asked. Sasuke shook his head. Nobody but the ones you were supposed to. I think you were still subconsciously attempting to finish the mission. I must say though, you did a number on the bridge, but everyone was okay. It's not that big of a deal, and they're gonna send more shinobi to the Land of Waves to help them rebuild and complete it. You helped us complete our mission, Naruto. Naruto pulled back. Really? Sasuke nodded. Yeah, you did. You helped us out. Right now, your father and Mr. Hiruzen are attempting to wake you up. They want to see you. They're worried about you. Will you please wake up for them? Naruto looked down and away. I lost control. I turned into a monster. I don't want to face them. Sasuke shook his head. You gotta, Naruto. If you don't face them, you'll be stuck here forever. They're not mad, I promise. Just please, wake up. But what if I transform again? What if I hurt someone? You won't, Sasuke said. I'm sure we can train you. Help you learn to control yourself. But to do any of this, you need to wake up. You hear me? Wake up. He offered Naruto his hand. Wake up, Naruto. Naruto looked at the hand for a moment and then to Sasuke. He took Sasuke's grasp and suddenly the two of them returned to their bodies. Naruto's eyes opened with the grasp. He's awake, Minato said. Wrapping his haori around Naruto, he pulled him close, not caring that he was covered in sap. Hiruzen sighed in relief. Thank goodness. This wasn't the first time Hiruzen had to face this, but it served as proof that whether Naruto remembered or not, he was still the same Naruto. And so the three of them would return to the Leaf where Naruto would be allowed to rest. But unbeknownst to them, elsewhere, a dark shadow spoke to an unknown figure. Did you hear? He's reappeared. Who? The figure asked. A smile pulled up on the shadow's face. The Ten Tails. And that's where I think I'll be ending it for the time being. We'll definitely revisit this story soon. I was just looking for an excuse to write this one. I loved writing What If Naruto Wore the Ten Tails, and to be able to make a sequel series to it has filled me with joy. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did. If you have, be sure to let me know in the comments below, and let me know if there are any other video ideas you'd like to see, or any sequels to previous series that you want us to put together. As always, be sure to like, subscribe, and ring that bell to be notified when new videos like this one drop, and until next time, peace.